Bem-vindos to one more episode of the Type Theory for All podcast. As always, this is your host, Pedro Abreu, talking directly from Brasilia, Brazil. Today, we host another company that does formal methods in the context of Everscale Blockchain and Solidity smart contracts. In this episode, we get into all the technicalities of their approach, how and why they use formal methods in this context, who are their clients, what are the caveats. We will talk about all of this and much more. So without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome everyone to one more episode of the Type Theory for All podcast. This is your host, Pedro Abreu, and it's my great pleasure to be here today with the founders of a company that works with formal methods. They are called Pruvendo, and I have here with me the founders, Andrei Lyashin and Sergey Egorov. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi everyone. So I'm Andrew. So I'm here to present the Pruvendo company and to discuss some interesting topic about formal verification.
Maybe we could talk a little bit about your guys' background, academic and non-academic.
Yeah, okay. I can tell about myself. So I am physicist by my first educational background. So I work in theoretical physics. For example, I work in Germany and in very good lab. So doing kind of mathematical stuff. But after that, I decided that I will connect myself with more computer stuff, and I went to robotics, where I developed the algorithms for autonomous vehicles and formalize it and express the navigation system in some formal language like Haskell and something like that. So I have a lot of articles in physics from my first part of my life, then a lot of articles in robotics, and
But in this
not
time,
so.
in this time, you're already involved in some functional languages. You said that you
Yeah,
use some
exactly.
Haskell.
Yeah, exactly. And in that time, I learned about Coq to express the properties of functional programs, and that was amazing stuff. And after that, we started the business with Sergey, connected with blockchains and formal verification. Yeah, because now blockchain is very impressive part of human development, I think, and we are interested in to bring more security there, to involve more developers and more users, not to have this stuff like only Ponzi scheme, just to give the real value from using blockchain, having secure and useful smart contracts to automate some business logic. Yeah.
We don't want another DAO hack happening anytime soon. That'd be disastrous. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it's funny how Haskell is usually, like an entry door for heavier drugs like cock. You get addicted in thinking functionally, and what can we do next? What is the next step? And you end up seeing cock, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely. So I started with Lisp. The first my program in functional style was Lisp. In parallel, I studied the category theory, the nice way to explain all the mathematics I know to this point, from topology from algebra and to all this kind of academical stuff to express in categorical way of thinking. And then I learned that Haskell support the category
Oh,
theory insights, and that was very impressive. And the Coq step was very logical in this situation, because Coq involves all this information in one platform. So you can use all the stuff: functional programming, category theory, and computer science to prove what you are trying to code, what you are trying to express in programming language. So that they're very logical to come to Coq and to use all the stuff in one platform.
yeah. In my experience, you took the opposite route. That is the common way, because many people that I personally met, me included in a sense, you first learn about Haskell and like the Oz of functional programming, and the more you try to learn, the more you realize that you need more math, you need more logic, you need to go down to category theory, and then when you see you're learning some category theory, you're learning some topology, you're learning homotopy type theory.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely.
And
So
those
the
are
more
good
you
things,
know,
yeah.
the more you would like to know, and the more you would like to formalize. So also I love the project. So about mathematical and Coq for the MathComp, or to express all mathematical knowledge in type theory way. So it's incredible part of Coq usage to express all the mathematics up to the some moment in Coq to give the formal proofs to well-known things, for centuries, but we need to have them proven. And I love that project about mathematical stuff in Coq. So I love the work of Voyevodsky about the homotopy type theory. So yeah, because it's new words in science, new words in mathematics to deal with objects, not as sets, not as categories, like just types, because they are very interesting way of representing the theories. Yeah.
What about you, Sergey? Tell us a bit more about your background.
Okay, so according to my education, I am a master in computer science. So I opened initially I opened a traditional software career. So I worked as a software developer for a few years. Then, in particular, in large transnational companies. Then turned into management. So I worked as a manager and as a senior manager for many years in such companies as Sun Microsystems, Oracle. So I was a really corporate guy. So in particular, I was involved in many activities related to quality assurance. So I know everything about the pain of bugs. Then together with Andrei, we started our own business. Um, Uh, so combine some innovative things with traditional software development. So right now I'm fully concentrated on uh, co- formal verification on formal industry because I really impressed with it. It's really great. It's fantastic as we already talked today.
Awesome. Well, it's good that that you have some already have some background managing companies and all of that, because you cannot survive in a company just by being technical. You need someone who actually has the managing skills and the people skills. So yeah, telling us a little bit, what is Pruvendo? What do you guys do?
Yeah, Pruvendo is the formal verification company. So it's mean like we are doing the formal verification services and develop our own product to help developers to formally verify their code, especially in the fields of smart contract and blockchain security. Yeah, and we are startup. So this means that we are actually developing the product. We don't have it more or less ready to sell. However, we have a history of about 3.5 years of servicing with formal verification for Everscale network, and it was great. and successful in their fields. Actually, now we are finishing our product to be more market compatible.
Tell us more about this product. What is this Everscale?
The Everscale is just a blockchain which started for about 4 years ago, and it based on Ton blockchain network. And the main purpose of involving assets as company doing formal verification is that they care more about security of smart contracts and about the core of the blockchain programs, and about node, about virtual machine. And that is why we started to do our business with them. So actually currently we are expanding to the more market to offer our services and products, for example, for EVM based networks, or maybe even not EVM or TVM based. So actually we support the Solidity language as the source language for smart contract development. But I think that we will expand our technology for Rust language, for example, in near year or something. Currently, I'm ready to talk about Solidity language. To do that, we created our own language. The name is Ursus, so it's like bear in Latin. And the main purpose of Ursus is to develop and formally verify smart contracts inside the COC ecosystem. That means that Ursus is the embedded DSL to COC, so you can write and formally verify the contracts inside the COC, just written in Ursus or translated from Solidity.
Okay, so you have Ursus and you can write down the smart contracts over there and use inside of COG to write all your code, and then you can formally verify and do all your proofs. And then what happens next? It extracts these Ursus directly to Solidity. Is that the idea?
Yeah. So the main idea is to have the small gap for developers to start writing in Ursus. So if they know how to write contracts in Solidity, they can learn Ursus in days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean the very basic stuff. So the Ursus is very deep because it's COC embedded. But just to write the contract, you need just several days to learn it, knowing Solidity. So you can
Right.
start writing down and then to supply the code with predicates, with properties, with some kinds of COC stuff, which can be easily manipulated inside the COC to prove or to perform, randomized testing inside the quick check. So quick check is the clone of quick check from Haskell, and quick check in COC is doing randomized testing for the same properties we can then use later in formal verification in proving. So the same properties we can just quick check them, and after all they passed, we can do the deductive verification of the same
Right.
properties. Yeah. So that is the workflow. So write the code, put down the specification, quick check them, and after all is passed, you can perform the deductive stuff.
Right, because then with quick check, it's much easier and faster to check if things are made correctly, and you can debug your code a little more, and then you can spend all your time to actually doing the proofs.
Yeah, exactly. The nice thing from quick check is that it can give you the accounts example, which
Right.
cannot be mined from deductive stuff. So if you have the accounts example, you can check your code with more accuracy. So having the exact state when some properties doesn't hold.
Okay, so moving on, there is something that was not quite clear to me yet. What is, because Solidity, if I understand correctly, please um, make, if I understand correctly, then Solidity is a smart contract language for Ethereum, right? So how does it relate to Everscale?
Actually, not only for Ethereum. Actually, some other blockchains also use it because it's really quite good for and well fit for smart contracts. And in particular, Everscale choose it as one of its primary languages, together with C++. Surprisingly. Of course, they have their own implementation, and it's slightly different than one in Ethereum. But it's just a dialect of Ethereum Solidity, working not too far away from the original one.
Yeah, I would like to add something. So actually, the choice of Solidity language and the base language for writing smart contracts in Everscale is to target the more developer audience. So because everyone from Ethereum community not know how to write code in Solidity. So to get them inside the Everscale ecosystem, they choose Solidity language at the basis, like just to get more developers.
Right, makes sense. And has that been working? Could you guys get any more developers? How is that helping? How big is your company, too?
Yeah, our company is just 17 employees, something about that. Half of us are coders, and half of us are just um, engineers for usual stuff in programming. So we also have uh, the department to write and investigate the smart contract behavior inside the emulator. So Everscale has emulator of smart contract behavior without using any node or without using DivNet, just to emulate it in the behavior in local computer. So it's very good to faster analyze what's going on with smart contracts to get the particular behavior to then use it in DevNet or mainnet or something like that. Yeah, so we had the department to investigate the behavior of smart contracts inside the Everscale ecosystem and inside the Ethereum as well. So now we are expanding to Ethereum. The next goal to apply our skills and to introduce Ursus to the world, the programming language and the verification framework as well, to Ethereum world and maybe another blockchain as well. Yeah.
Gotcha. Right. Yeah, it does sound to me that it's quite scalable and applicable to other blockchains too. That's really nice. That's really cool. So tell me more about, how did you guys get the idea of creating this company? What is the story behind?
Um, for, Found formal methods for us, and that time we got an idea that um, we definitely want to develop them. That it's a very interesting area. It's a very interesting and promising industry. But it was not so easy to find a good application for our ideas. So we tried to work with different traditional financial organizations like banks. It's not easy because they have very strict and stable processes, and it was not easy to introduce formal methods to them. And but, at the some point, we found that smart contracts is a kind of an ideal application for formal methods because at first they're small enough. So typical smart contracts is just maybe 1 to 1,000 of lines of code, and on the other hand, they are really mission critical. It's really mission critical software. So in case of even small mistake in any smart contract, people lose millions and dozens of millions of dollars sometimes. So it's absolutely required to have a very high level of quality for such a software. So we found that it's a great opportunity that smart contracts is a great opportunity for formal verification, and it's a great industry for developing this technology, for making it more easy to use. Um, to decrease uh, the barrier to enter the technology, etc. So for the last maybe 4 years, we're working with smart contracts, and during that time we did a lot actually.
Where does the funding comes from? Who pays for the work? Is it Everscale?
Yeah, currently the funding comes from Everscale. So there are two main funding sources. It's like for direct services for some companies or internal product of Everscale core team, or just from grant system. So the source is divided to two main parts. Uh, Actually, we have done a lot of service verification for very important contracts of course team inside the Everscale. And after that, we started to work with satellite companies, like not satellite, just company that will try to work with Everscale to develop their own products. And they asked us for formal verification for their products because they care about security, and because we are inside the core verification community, they asked us to verify the contracts, to make an audit, to make some static analysis, something like that. And after that, the granting system starts, and we got some grants for infrastructure development for Ursus and our verification framework and toolchain. So that is the second source.
Right. You said that these companies were interested in having you guys proving some properties. What kind of properties you guys have approached to prove for them?
Actually, the properties is just very generic. I mean, it's not the kind of some specific properties, but generic properties of smart contracts as programs on the blockchain. I mean that there is some kind of general logic of the program and the blockchain specific logic. For example, the gas pending, or for example, I mean, messaging from the contract from it and to it, and that is blockchain specific properties. But as well, we have the just any property which any program can possess. I mean, just any logic inside the program, inside the communication between functions, inside the state of the contract itself. I mean, state as well. All contracts are stateful program. They have their own state, and we can prove there's some invariance about this state to be assured that it is correct in every step of smart contract usage. I mean, after each message, we can prove that every message starting from the correct state, every message cannot do this state incorrect.
And how did you guys choose COG?
Yeah, that's the long story. Actually, I use Coq, for example, 15 or maybe more years. It's just for my own toy projects, and I started to use the system to inside the robotics, um, where my origin are. So to it was highly amazing for me that one can prove the codes you write, and that is definitely amazing, and it's magic stuff. So I'm big fan of Coq, and the possibility to verify every property you have about your code, it's amazing, and that is the reason that we don't use any lightweight verification stuff, like I mean some solvers, or maybe maybe model checking. So as well, we are aware of them, but we use Coq to have the possibility to verify every property you want. So that is very important, because the system is unlimited in the capability. So actually, it's quite difficult to do that, but the value of having all the possible properties to be verified is great for me, because even after the step of audit, the step of testing, the step of um, you know some um, shallow verification, if you don't do the deep internal analysis with a full-fledged verification, you can still expect for bugs or some misbehavior. And we'd like to perform formal verification as deep as possible, but of course, sometimes we can stop in some step because business is limited, and maybe not so much time, not so much funding. But actually, we'd like to think that we have all capability we would like to have with Coq.
And it seems to me that it's also hard to find engineers, proof engineers, because we're so niche. And probably you guys have to hire like PhD people or PhD students, and it's really hard to find them, right?
Indeed, it's not an easy task. It's really hard. Sometimes it's really hard to find engineers, because it's much easier to find regular software engineers, software developers, because they are around. But for this kind of software mathematicians, it's not an easy task. But we can see the both experienced people like PhDs, or also students with, especially students with great background, such as victories in international contests. For example, one of our engineers uh, 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 is a double champion in the international contest in mathematics. So, and also we're thinking about starting some educational programs in different colleges or universities around Cork, to let students to know more about formal methods in general, and Cork in particular.
Where do you plan to do that?
We still don't know. We still consider these ideas. So
I love that. I love that. I would really like to see more of that. I know that, for example, there are some meetings in France, because that's where the Coq team is. So every now and then they have some workshops going on about Coq, about math comp, and those are amazing. Those are really good, and that's really exciting to me. That's really exciting to see, more growing interest, not only from academia but also from the industry. In fact, I was doing an internship in a company in the Silicon Valley, the Bay Area, and they were doing some chips, and I was talking to the CTO on my first day of the internship, and he was like, Do you know that Intel floating point bug? That there's a famous name for that I forgot right now. But he was like, we really don't want that to happen again. And in order for that to happen, we are going full fledged as just the same way as Andre described. We're going full fledged formal verification here and go really deep and use cock in order to really prove these properties that we're interested here. So I don't know. Those things are really exciting to me because you are going very deep into the formal verification. You're going very deep into making sure that your properties will be satisfied in all possible scenarios, just as Andre was describing, not only testing here or there. You'll never be able to actually catch every single scenario. And yeah, those are amazing things. And I love that we have more companies and more interest in this sort of things. But yeah, it would be nice if we could, like, grow more interest in these areas. It's very upsetting to me to see how, um, everyone has all their eyes just on ML right now. Like, and I don't know, PL programming languages and formal verification and type theory. All of these things are growing because it seems to me that the society is really seeing value in actually going very deep into formalizing and making sure that your software has no bugs. It's impossible to have a bug because you actually showed it. But, well, coming back a little bit, I wanted to understand a little bit more of how this Ursus platform works. So you have this language that is embedded in Coq in order to write down the Solidity smart contracts, which is called Ursus. So how do you bridge this gap between Ursus and Solidity? How do you extract this code from Ursus and Coq to Solidity in, is it C and C++? Is that right?
Yeah, we have also the C++ platform, so it's not so deep developed as Solidity. Yeah, answering the question, yes, we can do both translation from Solidity to Ursus and back. So the forward translation we do writing the translator in Coq and verifying the correct AST transformation. I mean, we have the AST from Solidity compiler, and we can perform the AST translation to Ursus AST, which is quite similar. It's just almost one-to-one. And having this AST, we can have the code in Ursus. And for the back translation, with the LP automation, LP is the kind of Lambda prolog, also developed by INRIA. And we have a lot of LP stuff to automate all the Ursus grammatical transformation, and we can translate literally the line by line and the function itself as whole by using LP, because we can get the AST from a Coq and translate it back to Solidity using LP, because Ursus is a mix of deep embedded and shallow embedded language, and that is very important to have the shallow embedded stuff, because we can literally compute the state just having the program, and we do the monads to represent the internal state of the virtual machine, to represent the contract state itself, to represent the messaging system state. We have some mix of states represented both by internal monad and and we can compute the states of executing or evaluating the function on some particular state to have the new state, and that is very important. But the second thing is that to manipulate the AST, we need to have itself. We need to have it, and that is the reason to have the deep embedded part of the shell embedded, and we have some very very small language, so just maybe 1,000 lines of code. So it's not very very big, but it's very very important to have it. And having this, we can represent each line as part of the syntactic tree, and doing this, we can translate to and from Solidity using LP, for example.
I didn't understand what's the role of LP.
LP, we use it because LP had the full Coq API connection. So
okay.
yeah, inside the LP program, we can get the term we can get the Coq term in terms of AST, not just type checked term. So we can prepare a term step by step, and type check is only at the final stage. So most of time the term cannot be type checked because it's not full. Just we can pick some terms from here, some terms from there, combine them, and only on the final stage we can type check it and have it as a final Coq term. So the LP is a great tool to prepare the terms for Coq, because it allows to have it not checked and type checked only at the final step.
And then after the type check of this final step, you can produce the Solidity code.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, and after we have all type checked, we have the final Coq term. We can extract to have the Solidity program. So we have several levels of translation. We can translate the contract header. We can translate the function header as a different procedure. Then we can translate line by line of the Ursus code. That the funny thing that we use Ursus in proof mode, not as the whole term.
Oh,
so we use
right.
it. Yeah, so we can translate line by line from dot to dot. That's amazing because we can write in the hypothesis tab all we can translate and mine from this particular line of code. So we can just show the developers what is going on, which variables.
You see each one of the contacts. You see the whole context and what's going on under the hood and how to properly type check things. It's really nice to develop in proof mode. I get you. It's cool.
Yeah. I absolutely love the using REPL because it gives a lot of information. It's quite impossible to get it from the whole program. So you can translate line by line, and after that you can translate the function at all as a whole. So we have several levels of translation to give the developer the full information, what's going on, how it is translated, what are the variables, and so on. And after this, we collect all the functions in one term and give the full extraction at the end of smart contracts description.
I love that. That's really cool. But then you also said that you also do the other way around. You said that you go from Coq to Solidity, but you mentioned that you can also go from Solidity to Coq.
Yeah, we have the we can take Solidity as a source and translate it to Ursus.
Is that also using LP, the same strategy?
No, not using LP because it's just Coq program extracted to OCaml and then run. So it's just executable compiled from OCaml sources, which can be extracted from the Coq program, the original Coq program.
And so how does the translation from Solidity to Ursus happen?
Yeah, it just happened because the Solidity compiler can give the the AST of the Solidity code as a tree. So we have the tree transformation from Solidity to Ursus.
Right. That sounds easier. I like that. That's really cool. So what are the difficulties to prove the properties you want there? What are the hard parts?
The hard part, as usually for verification, is the specification. The specification stuff is very, very narrow part of all the verification process. And having the good having the good specification, we can perform any step with verification because all properties are stated good. But it's very rare situation in real life to have the full and accurate enough specification for smart contract. So this is the very, very hard part to get the correct specification from developers and managers or clients, and this is very difficult. The second difficult part is the in technical. So it is connected with we call it inverse scenarios. So you have the direct scenarios. It's like when you have some program, you have some instruction doing this, then that, and we can verify then doing all this stuff step by step. You will gain the correct state. This is the first part. It's quite easy to prove that. But the inverse stuff, that when you have the some kind of state, for example, you have submitted a transaction or you have get some tokens, the state is final, and you need to prove that you cannot get this state doing wrong things. So you can get the state only doing right things. That is the security properties of smart contract, that it doesn't allow to get the correct state doing incorrect steps. So that they're very difficult because the combinatorial expansion of the number of steps you can go through to get the final step. Yeah, and this is the technologically very difficult part because we need to make the inverse history of how this state can be got. Yeah, and that is quite difficult because if you have, for example, 10 functions, it's about the 10 factorial or something like this, a lot of combination of functions to be called to get the final state, and it is very difficult to prove that you can get this state only doing right things. There is no some backdoor, no backdoor.
I don't have much of a security background. I don't quite follow why you need to get this state only doing right things, because okay, you have your program, you have your set of functions, and then they're gonna run, and then they're gonna end up in this final state. So you're saying that doing this run, there might have some, you call a function incorrectly, for example, so it took a different path than the right path. So if you take any different path at any point, then you should diverge from the state that you would expect. Is that the idea? Something along those lines?
Yeah, the idea is that so having the tree, for example, you have the initial state, it is well defined. So you have the tree of calling different functions.
Right.
Yeah, different function. You have diverging in every stage. You can diverge to calling this function of this of that, and you have a tree of your contract liveness. And suppose that you have some final state, and you are asking yourself whether these states can be achieved only doing the thing that was intended to perform the functions. I'm not there is no any backdoor using some unpredicted behavior, some calling some functions not in the order, or maybe just I don't know what could happen here, but suppose you want to, for example, suppose you want to send some money from Alice to Bob, Yeah, and we have the final stage that Bob has received the money, and Alice doesn't know. Maybe she doesn't send it or something like that. So we should prove that Bob can receive the money only if, for example, Alice send it to him. And that is the security stuff because we can prove that if Alice sends some money to Bob, he will receive it. That's the direct scenario, yeah. But if she is already in the state of receiving money, we should prove that somebody send it.
Right, right. Okay, now I understand it. Now I understand it. Okay, thank you. That's a really good example. I like that. Okay, so you're Pruvendo. You guys use these Ursus, and you have Solidity, and are hired by different companies to make sure that their smart contracts is correct, because we don't want to be losing a lot of money. And you have formalized things, and you use Coq to do all this formal verification, and things look really, really nice. And there are some really difficult properties. And do you have any thoughts on other use cases for your approaches?
Actually, yes. When we're talking formal verification, it can be in future applied for any mission critical software. So it's not only smart contracts. It's a whole financial industry. It's definitely medicine, transportation, aerospace, retail, especially enterprise retail, some kind of manufacturing where you use critical machinery. For for example, a few weeks ago, a terrible um, um, tragedy occurred in China, if I remember correctly, when a robot accidentally killed an employee. And it's a very good application for formal methods to be sure that no robot can kill any or damage any human being. So there is a lot of applications for formal methods, and the main obstacle right now is that it's indeed very difficult. It's still very difficult to use, very expensive, very hard. But our mission is to make it easier.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great mission. I love that. Are you guys hiring?
Yeah, actually, we are currently at the growing stage of our company, so we are hiring. So maybe not hundreds of engineers, but maybe tens or something like that. Yeah, and that's the short question.
How can people find you? How can they apply? And what should be their background?
Actually, the easiest way is to visit our website probably and
Um, we are open in social network, so we have active LinkedIn account, So we have Twitter, and so these are the main way to get some connections. But actually, because we are from a lot of us are from academical sphere, we can ask for colleagues from the previous life and tell them about the capabilities of formal methods. And a lot of mathematicians and guys who don't want to be just engineers or just programmers and would like to perform some mathematical stuff because they like mathematics and they see their future to combine the mathematics and programming. That is the main point how we can motivate them to join us. So that also the short story. However, a lot of our employees are from universities, and they are doing some kind of master works or PhD, and so it is very interesting for them to write the uh, thesis about they are doing on work, not just some abstract thing. And that is our common way to hire. Uh, However, just growing now, I think that we could establish more guaranteed way to hire people. I don't know exactly which it could be. However, we have a strong connection, for example, with some teams in formal verification. For example, we have connection with guys doing Zilliqa network. I mean, so some very close friends of ours, and some guys from our company is working in in research position in some universities doing formal verification, investigation, research, something like that.
Well, I'll definitely leave the links to your website, your LinkedIn, your Twitter. And if anyone is interested, maybe they can reach out, send an email, things like that.
Yeah, great.
Perfect. Is there anything else we didn't touch, or do you think wasn't deep enough or wasn't clear enough?
I would like to add maybe something about our vision. Uh, so actually, we don't see the formal methods as bug chasing. Actually, I think that it's much more, because that there is always the problem of composability of different program, and only having that one program is performing that thing that intended, you can compose it with another program. And this is the main part of formal verification, to have the proven properties, not just bug chasing. Bug chasing is the side effect, I think, of doing the formal verification. Having the full proven functionality, you can combine the program with another one. And that is the main artifact, the main outcome, I mean, from the formal verification procedures. Not only bug chasing, not only bug hunting. It's much more, I think. And another thing I would like to add, that we we are trying to make the formal verification more user friendly. That having Ursus platform, having all the automatic stuff that can translate forward and backward, having some helpers, we can involve more engineers to perform formal verification without deep learning of type theory, without deep learning of COC of COC mechanics. Just having programs, some properties, and performing verification, randomized testing, and all the stuff in more user-friendly way, not not requiring from them knowing some deep mathematical stuff like types theory and etc. And that is our mission to one of our mission to involve more engineers to formal verification um, field, and give them tooling and explanations of what is going on with programs and what is going on with some properties and how they can be proven and how they can be written and all this stuff.
I really like that because, yeah, I definitely agree. One of the major issues is that the entry barrier is so high, right? Like you have to take a whole class on learning the logics of cock and what's going on under the hood and the calculus and this and that. And it's hard just to get started, right? Like maybe there's some people that actually have some mathematical background, know how to do proofs, but how can we express those to the computer? How can you express that while we are coding? So I definitely, I really love that initiative, and it's it's hard, right? It requires a lot of tooling. Probably you have to really think really carefully on how much you want to expose to the user and how do you want them to interact with with your code and your platform with your Ursus, right? Sounds like a hard problem.
Yeah. So, and this is the why we offer to use Ursus as line by line uh, interpreting stuff, because in every line user can stop and think more, not give the whole program and then see the output of the compiler or output from the interpreter, just line by line, as in Coq, as in Coq itself. Just 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 use one line and see what happens, and then you can go later. And the funny thing that you can put the holes inside this stuff. Yeah, that's great. You can put so you can just uh, write something like that. If hole, then hole, else hole, and fill the holes after in sometimes when you realize what you want to do to put there. Yeah, that's incredible stuff. You can write the program in any order, not just sentence by sentence, by just, if you don't know what to write right now, just put the hole and fill it later. And also support this stuff.
Not only filling later, but you can actually tweak your code, right? Like you can inspect, okay, there is this hole here, but what is in this context? What happens if I try to surround this hole with this other thing here, and I'll put this other expression? What's gonna happen, right? And then you slowly build this term interactively. It's really nice. I really love interacting like that. And you also said that you have a monadic style too, right? Because of Cox type system and with type classes, then you can put all of those things inside a monad and have even more power to write your code, right?
Yeah, yeah. The internal mechanics of Ursus is, of course, monadic style. So you can have low level style of coding and high level, so you can write in monadic language, so the same things, but it's not so common for usual programmers to write this way. So we offer two different ways. You can write in low level, just using the monadic transformation, or just at the deep embedded language Ursus. So just uh, uh, almost the same as in Solidity. So almost the same. It's very, very similar, but some kind of nice stuff like holes, like line by line interpreting. So it's a lot of funny stuff here.
You got me really curious. I'd like to check this code. Is it open source? Is it available?
Yeah, that the hard question. Now we are negotiating with our investors and our management board what we are going on with the Ursus itself. Would we like to make it open source or not? For me, I love open source. Of course, every normal developer likes open source, but it's not the question of the team itself. We need to negotiate the stuff with our investors. But I think that some part of them will be open source, because it's very difficult to gain developers and community without open source programs. It's quite impossible to do that, but we want to get them. We want to involve more people to write in Ursus to verify the program, and that the point that we need more open sourced um, repositories.
Awesome. Then
So
I really
mhm,
hope that they can agree with that and we can see some of those code out in the wild. That would be awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. I hope so.
Actually, I'd also like to add a few words. So, mostly we were talking about conversion of some Solidity or C++ code into OSS or vice versa. But one more pretty important thing is specification, because right now, Andrei already said a few words about it, that currently it's pretty difficult to create a good specification, and especially it's quite difficult to show it, to explain it to the business, to the product manager, for example. So, and one area of our activity is to create a new user-friendly tool for specification making. We are working on it right now. We did something, but not so much as for others. But I hope that in a few months we'll have some first version of this tool as well.
How can you make writing a specification more user friendly? What are the ideas there?
Actually, the basic idea is to use some kind of graphical approach
Oh, cool.
to connect to connect different
Mhm.
blocks and to show the logic, the scenarios, the design scenarios of the specification.
Right. I love that. That's really cool. Yeah, it would be really nice to have, like some building blocks, some Lego sort of things, and you can just actually visualize what you're trying to specify, right? Like you can actually see your program and what are the paths and how the logic is happening. I love that. That's really cool.
Another crazy idea I would like to add here is maybe using some neural networks to communicate with the developers to get the internal knowledge of what they think the program should do, and the amazing success of OpenAI. So here I think we can try to use this stuff to get some information from user, and we are trying to explain the network what we are trying to get from the user, and having the answers to network generated questions, we can get more information about the program itself. And that is the nice thing, that we can express our specification tool as the combination of AI dialogue with graphical tooling. And answering the question of neural network, you can get the graphical representation of the specification, and it is formal enough to translate it. It's automatically to code afterward. Yeah, that's our vision currently.
Those are really cool, good ideas. There are also some tools that you can also use, not necessarily going all the way to AI, but also some SMT solver like Hammer. And I think it would be very interesting to see how those would fit as well, because it would definitely make the developer's life easier to call some automatic solver under the hood to check for your specification. For example, there is a tool in Isabel, which is another theorem prover, where you can check if the property of your code makes sense. I think it's called nitpick. So you can just write down your lemma and then you call nitpick, and it will try to find counterexamples very much along the lines of quick check. So I think it's a very similar approach of different tools here, and those are really nice and really cool to see being applied in the industry in the wild, with actual engineers have interest in these things. So it's really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, one more thing that I forgot to ask while talking about hiring. Do you guys hire remotely, or do you have an office somewhere?
We are hiring remotely, of course,
Mm-hmm.
because after the all this hard time for the world, we cannot estimate that we can some stable office in some
Yeah.
country. So actually we are all around the world now, and so I think that the remote the remote companies are very good for now,
Yeah.
and we are hiring remotely, of course.
Yeah, this pandemics was a huge hassle and a huge pain, but one good thing maybe that came out of it is that it really forced companies to think about remotely really seriously. So it's nice to have all these opportunities, and you can be in the comfort of your home and together with your family, thinking about things that,
Yeah, and
yeah.
yeah, that's true. Another thing, that we are working in blockchain, and in blockchain, I suppose that every developer can think about himself as about economic agent. So you're just not an employee, you're just economic agent, and that's the normal way to think about the communication between company and employees, to think that all of us are economic agents, and so we cannot insist to the fact to be in some particular place in the world to do some work for us. It's some not convenient thing, I think, in the 21st century.
Right. Well, I think one question that I didn't do in the end is, where did the name of the company come from? What is Pruvendo? What does it mean, really?
Yeah, it's the name is from our previous life. So it's the combination of two Latin words. One of them is proof or something like this, and the second is venda. So it's some kinds of market in Latin. And so it's like some market for proofs. So that is the idea to perform the worldwide market of proofs and codes and something like this, to put it into blockchain.
Cool.
And so you can get some function or some smart contract and the surrounding proofs about them.
Right.
And so you can be assured that the codes you use is proven.
Right. It makes a lot of sense. I speak Portuguese, so it also comes out of Latin. And when I see the endo, well, proof was pretty clear, but the endo I was thinking as a gerund for us is like proving.
I see.
But vendo,
I see, actually it's Peru. Yeah.
Okay, it's interesting.
So actually there are two V inside. So one from the proof and the second from venda. Yeah. So we combine it and lose one of them.
It would be a weird Pruvendo.
Pruvendo, yeah, exactly.
Well, with that, I think we covered everything.
Seems like that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for coming here. It was a very pleasure conversation, and I hope that the listeners also liked it. I'm sure they did, though, because you guys are working on some very nice, cool ideas, and I'm sure we all learned something from you guys. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting us here. It was a pleasure for us and honor to participate in your podcast, one of the most popular podcasts about formal methods in the world. So thank you very much to doing that. Thank you very much for supporting our narrow community, to introducing us to other participants. So thank you very much again.
Many thanks. It was a real pleasure to come here.
Well, that was it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did. It was a very interesting conversation. I'm always so delighted to see these new companies, having growing interest in formal methods and COC, and all these cool things that we do in Type Theory and all. So, well, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in our website, typetheoryforall.com. We also have a Twitter, TT4all. The sites for Pruvendo will all be in the links of the show. So if you have a podcast manager, it should be there by now. And well, if you're looking for a job and you thought this is interesting, make sure to contact them. Or, if you have any interest in contributing, or you're working on something similar, also reach out. I'm sure I know that they will be very interested in talking with new people. But well, I think that's it for today's episode. I hope to see you guys next time.